Hi guys, it's Dan from Dan's Best Tech. Is the Asus Zephyrus G14 the best gaming laptop on the market? Go to this timestamp to see the gaming results only, but for everyone else, stay tuned for the full review. To me, it might not be as elegant or as complete as the Razer Blade Stealth or the Macbook Pro, but its raw CPU and graphical performance for such a small price and weight makes this laptop great. Asus is selling the really well-equipped Zephyrus G14 with the RTX 2060 graphics card inside for only $1450 at Best Buy. Additionally, you get the AMD Ryzen 9 4900HS processor, 16GB of RAM, a 120Hz Full HD display, and a 1TB SSD screen. And Asus crammed all of this into a 14-inch Ultrabook that weighs in at 3.5 pounds. That's only slightly larger and heavier than the Razer Blade Stealth. Since this laptop packs so much power into a thin and light chassis, I think it's one of the best on-the-go laptops for students or professionals who want a super small and portable laptop, but also the graphical power for games, photo and video editing, and even CAD work. The magnesium alloy case feels very premium, although not as classy as Razer Blade's aluminum chassis. It definitely helps in reducing the laptop's weight, and it's better than plastic. And also, the silver version doesn't show any fingerprints at all, something I can't say is true for the Razer Blade Stealth. Moving to the keyboard, I think it's great. It reminds me of the MacBook keyboards before Apple switched to the butterfly keys. The key travel feels superb, the activation force feels great, and I can type on the keys very quietly for when I'm in a meeting or in class. Some might say they're a little mushy, but I actually prefer to type on keyboards that feel like this. The mushiness adds to the quietness. Am I the only one who can't stand loud typists? Additionally, I like the dedicated volume keys at the top, but I do wish that the function keys were reversed by default. And finally, the white backlighting on the silver keys is very uneven and dim. That said, it does its job in a dark room. As for upgradability, you can upgrade both the SSD and the RAM yourself. So now we have to talk about the speakers. I'm sad to say that the upward firing speakers, although nice sounding at lower levels, do not perform very well at high levels. They have kind of like a blaring sound to them. Luckily, you can use the headphone jack with external speakers or headphones for better quality sound. Additionally, headphones also have the benefit to drowning out fan noise when gaming. Now let's talk about that display. The 120Hz Full HD display is pretty good and is what I prefer in a laptop of this size. You can definitely feel a better gaming experience with a 120Hz display over a 60Hz one. It's so much smoother, and in my opinion, upgrading to a 4K 60Hz touchscreen will not improve the picture quality on a 14-inch display unless you hold the screen an inch away from your face. Additionally, the 120Hz display can take advantage of adaptive sync to keep the game's FPS in sync with the screen's refresh rates for an even smoother gaming experience. And in the bezel-less age we live in, the bezels around the screen aren't that large either. Since they aren't made of glass like on other laptops, you don't have to worry about fingerprint smudges all along the side of the screen. But is there anything missing above the screen? This laptop is for gaming. Who really needs a webcam? I know what you're thinking. My wife said the same thing. We're in a pandemic. Everyone is working from home. We need a webcam in our laptop, she says. But I say just use a USB webcam. Besides, don't you have your laptop hooked up to a monitor 99% of the time with a 4K webcam attached to it for work? And isn't the camera in your phone and tablet better than most 720p webcams and laptops anyways? Speaking of things you can plug into your laptop, although this is slim and light, the Zephyrus G14 has a good selection of ports. On the left side, it includes the charger port, HDMI out, USB-C with DisplayPort, and a headphone jack. On the right side, it includes two USB 3.1 ports and an additional USB-C port. The power button also acts as a fingerprint sensor, which works pretty well for me, no complaints. I love that this thing includes USB-C, HDMI, and USB Type-A. Is it missing anything, you might ask? No, of course not really. Well, okay, it might be lacking an SD card slot. But that's it. What about Thunderbolt 3, you might ask? Yeah, no, that's missing too. But you do get Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.0. And besides, the raw graphical performance of the GTX 2060 will make you forget all about a $500 to $1,500 eGPU upgrade. And that leads us to the CPU and GPU. I'm very excited to say that Asus and AMD have definitely brought their A game. The 3.5-pound Asus Zephyrus G14 includes a Ryzen 9 4900HS CPU. When compared to the 2020 Razer Blade Stealth and MSI Prestige 14, this laptop definitely takes the cake and performs closer to the Razer Blade 15. It gets a Geekbench 5 multi-core score around 8,000, almost double the processing performance over the 2020 Razer Blade Stealth and MSI Prestige 14. And the RTX 2060 Max-Q graphics are top-notch as well. The OpenCL graphics score from Geekbench 5 shows a score of 60,000. With maxed out settings, Grand Theft Auto 5 benchmarks with an average of 140 FPS. Doom got around 120 FPS, Witcher 3 averaged around 60 FPS, and Fortnite ran in the 80s. As a result, although the Asus Zephyrus G14 with the RTX 2060 isn't as strong as some gaming laptops, any game can still be played at max settings, and scaling back the settings will obviously improve the FPS from there. So I know what you're thinking. With all this power crammed into such a thin and light laptop, does it thermal throttle? Actually, no. Running Unigine Heaven for 30 minutes with the settings at Ultra didn't show any thermal throttling. So how did Asus fit such a powerful CPU and GPU into such a small chassis? First, they worked with AMD to turn a 45-watt processor into a 35-watt version. Then, their cooling system is top-notch. The 2 internal fans, 4 heat sinks, and 7 heat pipes keep this laptop properly cooled. During the stress test, the internal temperature never climbed above 76 degrees C, and nothing downclocked to reduce thermals. The fans do kick in when gaming, but they aren't loud or annoying in my opinion. They are fans, not jet engines. The keyboard and bottom cover do heat up to 50 degrees C though. It gets warm, some would say hot even, but it won't burn you. Therefore, I can play games with this laptop resting on my lap just fine. So with all this power, the battery life on this gaming laptop must suck, right? Well, not necessarily. I was able to get 7 hours out of this laptop doing basic web browsing, YouTube playback, and script writing. This is typical for an Ultrabook and amazing for a gaming laptop. Is the Asus Zephyrus G14 enough to convince Apple users to make the jump? Let me know what you think down in the comments, but to me, it's very tempting. The GPU performance is almost 3 times as powerful as the 16-inch MacBook Pro and almost 10 times as powerful as the 13-inch MacBook Pro. The size and weight are superb, the keyboard and typing experience are great, it has more of a variety of ports like USB 3.1. The only thing that's worse is the trackpad, the lack of a webcam, and Thunderbolt 3. But there are so many games not available or optimized for macOS, and Apple decided that it was in their best interest to drop support for legacy 32-bit apps and games, so I guess it's pretty obvious. If you want to game, go with the Asus Zephyrus G14 or one of the Razer or MSI alternatives mentioned before, but if you need Final Cut Pro, stick with the MacBook. To conclude, should you buy the Asus Zephyrus G14 with the RTX 2060? If you want one of the best performing gaming laptops in a small and light case, one that is more affordable than the competition, one that comes with 16 gigabytes of RAM, one that comes with 1 terabyte of storage, one that has upgradable RAM and storage, one with slim bezels around the screen, one that comes with legacy ports like USB 3.1, one with a top-of-the-line CPU performance at this time in a laptop, one that can play just about any game at max settings, one that doesn't thermal throttle, and one that gets superb battery life, then the $1,450 Asus Zephyrus G14 is for you. Just remember, its fans are noticeable when gaming, it's slightly heavier than the Razer Blade Stealth and MSI Prestige 14, and the sound blares at high decibels, and it's missing a webcam, and it's missing Thunderbolt 3. But what do you guys think? Would you spend $1,450 on the Asus Zephyrus G14? And let me know in the comments what you'd like to see me test next. And finally, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel out, and I'll catch you in the next one.